And the Zimbabweans were not necessarily a problem for South Africans. There is a problem, of course, South Africans don't want to deal with. If any Zimbabwean who's in Ndebele, I'm sitting in what used to be called the Transvaal. The last king of the Transvaal was a Zimbabwean king called Msirikasi Mashowe. And you read this in South African history. It's not made up. He only crossed over into Zimbabwe, retreating from Paul Kruger. So I'm supposed to tell the Ndebele people,
go back to South Africa.
You are makwerekwere. I mean, it's almost, it's ahistorical. But why is this a problem? I want to suggest that it's a problem for certain white constituencies that's been nicely fed into black constituents. And I'm not suggesting there are no problematic Zimbabweans engaging in crime and other things. No, I won't be that simplistic. Their neighbors have been living in semi-autonomous modes for some time. And they've learnt business complexity, like this building. Remember I kept saying to you, big money makes money from our people. These people, the Somalis, the Zimbabweans, the Nigerians, I'm not talking about the ones that may be involved in crime or are illegal, the legal ones. Where are they setting up? They're setting up in the middle economy.
They're setting up in the townships.
And who are they threatening?
They are threatening ShopRite.
Yes, and so it is those sort of, so our people end up fighting battles for somebody else.
On behalf of ShopRite.
Yes, for somebody else, because
they are fighting the Spaza shops on behalf of ShopRite. Perhaps they will say they want the Spaza shops.
No, but if that was the fight, I would say to them, hey, come, you have access to capital. Come and set up in Badbridge. Come and set up in Gwanda so that Zimbabweans are not crossing here to come and buy, not from you. Because look at how many Zimbabweans cross into this country. Thousands that don't stay, that cross just to buy. So why is South African black business
not setting up in Harare?
Or in Badbridge.
And Baybridge, yes.
Spare yourself the cost. I will make a little bit more money because I'm getting paid dollar. Right? Since you guys are using US dollar. And I'm saving you the trip. I can even set up a delivery. You order from your home in Sakuva, we'll deliver, because it'll still be cheaper than you having to pay, bribe people at the border, make a risky... The intra-Southern African black community that united to fight against colonial occupation, apartheid, and needs to have an economic logic to it.
So your answer essentially put is, do you want to solve the big immigration question in South Africa? The solution is go set up businesses in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans won't come here because they will work for you, they will buy from you.
The bulk of the Zimbabweans who come here don't stay.
Big retail profits from South African migrant crisis. Good day, fellow South Africans, and welcome back to IZWI LABANSUNDU, the voice for Africans, the voice of the people, the home of fearless conversations, uncomfortable truths, and honest political analysis. Today we are talking about something many people are afraid to say publicly. While ordinary South Africans are fighting over jobs, struggling with unemployment, and blaming migrants for economic pressure, there are powerful businesses quietly making billions from this entire crisis. Yes, you heard me correctly. The migrant crisis in South Africa is not just a social issue. It is also a business model. Big retail companies, wholesalers, landlords, labor brokers, and even politicians are benefiting from the chaos, while poor communities carry the burden. And in this video, we are going to unpack exactly how the system works. Because many South Africans are angry at migrants, But very few are asking the bigger question. Who profits from all of this? Let us get into it. South Africa currently faces one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. Millions of citizens, especially young black South Africans, cannot find work. At the same time, undocumented migration has become one of the most emotional and politically explosive issues in the country. Across townships and inner cities, tensions continue to rise over spaza shops, informal trade, labor competition, housing, healthcare pressure, and crime. Government operations have intensified in different provinces, especially around spaza shops and undocumented workers. Authorities in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, and Northwest have conducted inspections and shut down hundreds of non-compliant businesses. But here's what many people are missing. This situation did not happen by accident. There are people making serious money from cheap labor, informal retail networks, and weak immigration enforcement. And many of those people are not poor migrants. They are powerful businesses. Let us start with the labor market. Many companies prefer undocumented workers because they are easier to exploit. That is the ugly truth. If a worker is undocumented, they are less likely to report abuse, less likely to demand higher wages, less likely to go to the CCMA, less likely to join unions, less likely to expose labor violations. Some employers know this. That is why raids by labor inspectors often uncover undocumented workers in agriculture, retail, construction, and hospitality sectors. Now ask yourself this question. If businesses fully or truly hated undocumented migration, why do they keep hiring undocumented workers? Because it increases profits. Cheap labor equals bigger margins. That is capitalism at its most ruthless, heartless level. And unfortunately, poor South Africans and poor migrants are being pushed into competition against each other while wealthy business owners sit comfortably at the top collecting profits. That is why many South Africans and township residents feel frustrated. They see local youth unemployed while business continues hiring vulnerable migrant workers willing to work for lower pay. But instead of targeting the companies exploiting the system, society often focuses only on the migrant themselves. Now let us talk about retail. One of the biggest discussions in South Africa today revolves around spaza shops. Government statistics and provincial registration figures show that a large percentage of registered spaza shops are owned and operated by foreign nationals. But here's something important many people overlook. These shops do not operate in isolation. Most of them buy stock from major wholesalers and retail supply chains. Who benefits when thousands of township shops buy bulk products every single day? Big wholesalers, big suppliers, big retail distribution companies. The informal economy has become deeply connected to formal corporate retail structures. Research even showed that spaza shops account for a massive share of food spending in many communities. That billions of rands are circulating through township economies. And powerful businesses understand this very well. And it has to be said, we are talking about the white monopoly capital here. So while ordinary South Africans are debating migrants versus locals, large corporations are quietly benefiting from the entire ecosystem. Now let us be fair and balanced here. Not every migrant is illegal. Not every migrant is a criminal. Not every migrant-owned business is breaking the law. Many migrants come to South Africa fleeing economical collapse, right? Fearing economic collapse, instability, or violence in their home countries. Some work extremely hard, some create jobs, some operate legally, some even contribute positively to local economies. Even some community discussions online acknowledge that migrants are often exploited because businesses know undocumented workers have fewer protections. But acknowledging that reality does not mean South Africans should ignore immigration failures. A country must have borders. A country must know who's entering and leaving. A country must enforce labor laws fairly. And citizens must not feel abandoned in their own economy. That is where government has failed badly. For years, politicians ignored the problem. Home Affairs struggled with corruption. Backlogs and weak enforcement municipalities failed to regulate informal trade properly. And now the crisis has exploded into public anger. Suddenly, politicians want to look tough. Suddenly, raids are happening everywhere. Suddenly, spaza shop compliance operations are dominating headlines. But where were these leaders years ago? Many South Africans now believe government only acts when public frustration reaches dangerous levels. And this is where politics become very dangerous. Because when unemployment is high and communities are desperate, politicians can easily use migration as a political weapon. Instead of fixing the economy, instead of industrializing, instead of creating jobs, instead of supporting township entrepreneurs, right? They shift all the anger toward migrants. And yes, migration does create pressure, but migration alone did not destroy South Africa's economy. Corruption did. Deindustrialization did. Load shedding did. Policy failures did. Elites greed did. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Tebus Kosana. The name of the platform is IZWI LABANSUNDU. Kama Africa.